understanding of reality is filtered through our human user interface, which simplifies the complex world around us. But what if this interface is hiding facets of reality from us? This idea is explored in Donald Hoffman's book, The Case Against Reality: Why Evolution Hid the Truth from Our Eyes. Hoffman suggests that our reality is not a direct reflection of our world, but rather a simplified version created by our brains to help us navigate and survive. Disclaimer: this discussion is a simplified overview of complex topics and should not be considered a definitive explanation. Details and nuances have been omitted for brevity and clarity. The nature of reality and consciousness remain a subject of ongoing debate and inquiry, with no single agreed upon view. The concept of reality is closely tied to the debate between realism and anti-realism. Realism posits that there is an objective, definite reality independent of our observations. On the other hand, anti-realism suggests that reality is not fixed, but rather shaped by our perceptions and observations. Our discussion leans towards anti-realism, where reality is not fixed. It is rather dynamic, ever-changing entity, construct. In the realm of quantum physics, don't trust me on this, just going to go briefly over it. Go look at Blitz PhD. We find fascinating phenomena in quantum physics that challenge our understanding of reality. Wave-particle duality and non-locality are two such concepts that demonstrate the strange and counterintuitive nature of the quantum world. At a quantum level, particles can exhibit both wave-like and particle-like behavior, and they can even be instantaneously connected regardless of distance through something called entanglement. These phenomena have been experimentally confirmed and form the basis of quantum mechanics. The notion that reality is only real when we observe it is raising a lot of difficult questions. What happens to reality when we're not observing it? Does it exist in a state of superposition, waiting to collapse into a definite state upon observation? Or is reality constantly shifting, influenced by the observations of conscious beings? And who counts as conscious? These thought exercises challenge our understanding of reality and encourage us to explore the boundaries of our knowledge. Quantum Bayesianism, or QBism, provides a theoretical framework for understanding the probabilistic nature of reality by introducing probabilities as inherent properties of reality. QBism allows us to navigate the uncertainties of the world. But what can we learn from this framework? And how can we apply QBism to better understand the complexities of reality? And again, we don't know if the world is inherently probabilistic or deterministic, but I don't think it's going to be deterministic. That's too unlikely for me, despite what some narrow-minded people claim. So again, we got fuzzy logic and Bayesian inference. They come into play when dealing with the uncertainties of reality. Fuzzy logic allows us to navigate the gray areas of life, where things are not always clear-cut, or yes or no, or 1 or 0. They're somewhere in between. They're kind of like sometimes, maybe, rarely, those sort of things. And Bayesian inference enables us to update our probabilities and make better decisions in the face of uncertainty. These mathematical frameworks help us to grasp the complexities of reality, but also highlight the limitations of our understanding. That's how I like to think of reality. I think it makes the most sense, but again, people have different points of view. Further, we're going to go into neuroscience, because neurons and emergent consciousness are also crucial to this discussion. Our consciousness arises from the interactions of billions of neurons in our brains, each processing uncertain information using fuzzy logic and Bayesian inference. This emergent property is a holistic approach to understanding consciousness, where the whole is more than the sum of its parts. You can think of emergence as a flock of birds, how they all have simple rules that they follow, like don't run into each other and stay with the pack and find the next place to land. Those things all work together when there's several dozens of agents interacting with each other, and they create an amorphous blob. That blob doesn't really exist. It's a pattern that emerges and we notice because we have those capabilities. Renowned scientist Max Tegmark posits that the brain is actually situated in the classical physics timescale, making it unlikely that our biology relies heavily on quantum effects. You may have seen a lot of news reports about new effects that could explain quantum interactions in the brain, but I don't know. I'm not convinced yet. So recent studies have shown that quantum effects may play a role in the brain, such as electron tunneling that happens over like 80 micrometers, which is decent for an electron. And something called superradiance, that is a quantum fluctuation within the microtubules of our cells, specifically the ones in neurons. If our brains do rely on quantum effects, it would further implicate panpsychism, where everything has some level of consciousness to it. And I think that's a reasonable idea, especially if quantum effects do seem to play a role in the brain. Nevertheless, our brains do not seem to act as quantum computers, and their intricate complexity may be enough to give us the illusion of subjective reality. Perhaps one day we can tap into the quantum effects within our brains, but it's also possible that we can perfectly imitate the brain with micro-scale classical systems. We won't need quantum interactions to create consciousness in all likelihood. So sorry, with this discussion we're kind of left with more questions than answers, but I think the more minds that we have thinking about this problem, the more ideas and concepts that we'll understand and spread and develop new ones and add new facets to the ones we already have. But what is the nature of reality, and how do our observations shape it? Can we truly understand the complexities of the world, or are we forever bound by the limitations of our human user interface? We invite you to ponder these questions and share your thoughts with us in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe for this content and this intersection of philosophy and science. We'd love to hear your thoughts and engage in a discussion. And by we, I mean only me, but if you want to help. Thank you for joining us on this discussion into the mysteries of reality and consciousness. As we part ways, remember that the truth is not always clear-cut, but the pursuit of knowledge is what makes us human. Keep exploring, keep discovering, and keep wondering. Be curious!